we don't have time. So I leave the time to you to ask questions as you like. Thank you.
And a solution for that, universities will be able to create knowledge and support SMEs while people are graduating or studying or graduating from these universities. They can go and create their own businesses. So here, this will defy the hypothesis you said, we don't need them. We need them because they generate knowledge. What you said is really valuable, and the experience and everything, but still I think universities is the incubator for knowledge, and the thing we need is to make this knowledge operational.
Yes,
Thank
Doctor, I respect what you said, is that our universities are not universities. I teach at Cambridge, and I have association in teaching with Harvard, and I've seen both. Ours are classrooms. What we need is to have real link with the market, is to have research center, real research. You know, in Cambridge, my colleague, Sir Michael Gregory, he reformed Rolls-Royce, and he is a professor at Cambridge. He reformed the aviation technology, and he is from the universities. Now, what I am saying, that what we do not need is the silent knowledge. We want active knowledge. That's where we are. That's maybe what you are suffering, because nobody is allowing you to link with the market. When I became a director in Alba, the first thing I did, I removed the training center. Training center should be inside the factory, not somewhere there with gardens and other. It's like those people who are trying to treat you with yoga on this nice spongy floors. Yoga, come and show me in the market, because they're where I need it. And if you give me nice environment, nobody can guarantee me that afterward. What I am saying is that the approach that we are taking is that we are transferring knowledge, and we have become storages of knowledge. نخزن. الشعب العربي مثقف جدا. يعني you see how much they know, but how little they can apply. That's where things go wrong. So the application part of it. And we have got the best brains of Arab brains outside the Arab wars. They were the same people. It's only when they left, they gave them this avenue to link with the market, they actually realized their potential. The best Zionist fighter pilots are Yemeni Jews. Before moving to occupied territories, for me there is no Israel, so I cannot say Israel. Before they went to occupied territories, they could not ride bicycles. These Yemeni Jews. Now they fly F-16. It is not only you, it's not only me, it's the environment also. The human being was the same human being in Yemen who could not ride bicycle, and the same human being went to somewhere else where they availed to him the avenue to link to the application. That's where we think. We think that we should. I tried to, when I was in Alba, tried with the University of Bahrain, in the engineering department, is that all your students should come to Alba and do your test here, not in your labs. That's where we think. I hope I answered you, Doctor. Thank you. Fadale.
I have a question here. Thank you for a nice presentation. But I have a question. You just mentioned some success stories for some entrepreneurs. But my question is, unfortunately, the failure rate of small business, especially in the startup stage, 50%, or even more than 50%. So what's the main problems that the small business faces in this startup stage, and how we accelerate their success rate, especially in this period?
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good question. When I meet entrepreneurs or managers of SMEs, I always tell them, أدعو الله أن لا تتفوقوا في المرحلة الأولى. Okay, early success is very dangerous, and I wish that you fail because I want you to see the road. And anybody who succeeds at an early stage, what is waiting for him is complacency and ego, and that will burn him after that. But what you see there, yes, it is actually the failure rate is more than that. It is over 80%. But that's also the scientist will tell you how many trials you make to invent something, and then you get the last thing. Thomas Edison said, I tried 1,009 times, and now I know that there is one way to make bulbs, but there are 1,009 ways that you cannot make them. When I started my own company, this was the mother company, Jafcon for Productivity, everybody told me that I was wrong because I was well paid, I was well placed, and all the privileges. Then I left everything and I went through. And I did what I should not do. I did everything the wrong way, only to find out that they were the right way. I did my calculation on a piece of tissue. My strategies was in the car, on this sticker, and I never paid attention too much to accountancy, and I went through, and the people always ask me, what have you succeeded with? I want you to ask me what I have failed with, because there where you learn more. What I think is that that's the nature. In fact, it's part of the growth. It's like your child. Your child, you hold the hand, he or she will drop, but you don't care because you know one day he or she will stand up. Now your SME is your child, has to drop, has to be guided. I have seen people who actually, for some reason, for good or bad reason, they succeeded at the early stage, but the life was very short for them.
الحقيقة in the reality we have facing lots. Everybody say our society is corrupted. We have too many problems. But when asking for the solution, they said they don't have to ask any solution. I'd like to welcome Dr. Jafari, because you start saying, if our world is bad, because you are bad. No, in America they said it takes two to mingle.
Yes.
So we cannot realize that it's bad, and such we are ourselves. And see, the problem, the solution is not to face a society and say we are bad, but how to become successful, how to come out of the gutter. And I'd like you all to give big applause for Dr. Jafari.
Thank you. Sheikh, you are our role model, and I want to reiterate what I said earlier. The only influential factor in the life is work. Nothing else. All of you are intelligent. All of you can attain any academic credentials, but what differentiates you with others is the level of effort that you put. And I have been through it. I said I was a laborer. I worked in Mina Salman as a laborer. I worked as a laborer in Alba, and I actually cleaned sewage systems. I went through that. If you tell me whether it was my PhD or it was sewage system, I say the sewage system which made me, not my PhD. My PhD is PhD education is like food. If you eat good food, it will not guarantee that it will make you good entrepreneur or make you successful. Good education, fine, good. I think everybody should go for good education. But it has nothing to do with your success in real terms. It doesn't mean you don't have. No, you should have. You should work very hard to educate yourself. Education like food. It makes you survive and you need it all the time, but success is another game. And we must get out of this fictitious environment of talks and talks and talks and come on the floor. إذا ريال تعال هني. هني حتى انتوا البنات. Yes, exactly. Yeah, this is what I've seen people who are extremely intelligent, extremely knowledgeable, well educated, but they could not move a finger. They wanted Apple to come to them. That's the problem. Any other questions, please? Yes, please.
Thank you, sir, for your lecture. But in this lecture, you give us the impression that SMEs are the good, while the large enterprises are the evil.
Yes.
I think, sir, that small SMEs integrates large enterprises. So, for example, if large enterprises closed, this will lead to the closings of all the SMEs that give support to this large enterprise.
Sure.
Also, you are right. SMEs employs relative to its capital more than large enterprises. This is right, but look to what Dr. Kahtani said. He said in Bahrain we have large percentages of SMEs, while they only contribute in employing 40% of Bahrainis. Also, it contributes only 8% of the total export. So we need to integrate SMEs and with large enterprises, because both of them are necessarily for the economy.
Thank you. Allow me to share with you my personal opinion. This is opinion. I don't have facts. Large industries or large firms were not in existence before Industrial Revolution. Human nature is small. Entrepreneurs or SMEs. When they started, I mean, one of the oldest companies in the world is the East Indian Company. It's an imperialist company, which is now, in fact, they had a branch here before, which is now BMMI, but BMMI is now independent. LeConte used to be called also Gray McKenzie. They were situated here near Bettelco. These companies came to actually control the market. They wanted to have the market of China, India, Iraq, Iran, and the whole thing. The idea is not this, you have got an advantage. There's not everything is bad, no. The economy of a scale is very good. Now you try to produce 1 ton of aluminium, it will cost you much more than what Alba produces. You need process production and centralized services. Now that's fine. But do you know that Alba, you said that if they close, the SMEs will close. Do you know that if SMEs fail, Alba will close? Because there are hundreds of companies serving Alba all the time. Now, where is this? Where do we draw the line? Where is the break even? How large we should go? I think in Bahrain, we must not have large companies. We are not geared for it. In fact, even large economies are not geared for it. That's why they are dismantling the large companies. I mean, Toyota is not Toyota. Toyota are 32,000 companies serving Toyota. Toyota, most of the time, is a virtual company. But there are so many companies feeding into their production line. I don't think we should expand Alba. Because now, how much do you get out of producing aluminium? We get only 15% value added. That's not good economy. Some of the authorities, they get upset if I give them these figures. I said, all what you are doing is giving me 15%. If I put in fixed deposit, I will get more out of it. But ALBA is not only financial return. ALBA is economics. There's employment. There is also moving the SMEs.
I wish that I can, give you more time because your speech is very interesting. But we're trying to be, as I said before, we're trying to be fair with the other speakers
في
as well.
الخدمة أنا أي وقت تبون أي شيء حاضرين
Okay.
لكم.
Thank you. Thanks a
شكراً.
lot, Dr. Jafar. Thank you, Dr. Jafar Akbari, for this valuable and informative speech. Akbar Jafari, sorry. Now let's move on to the next speaker. Is Professor Tariq Sharif.
To be very short talking, to talk in very short time, and then to focus on my topic. Actually, I would like to all the attendees, and I'm happy to present my topic, which is actually have done by me and Professor Amr. Professor Amr Rubi'i, he helped me too much in defining the framework of the work of this research paper. And then we try to actually to concentrate on building innovation capacity for knowledge creation in GCC countries. As this topic defines the building innovation, how to build innovation capacity for knowledge-based creation in GCC countries. I am optimist, actually, with what have been shown by the figures and facts, which is collected from the international data sources. We are very happy to see that both the advanced countries and GCC countries, they have their own rules in innovation, but still there are gaps even in the advanced country, and still there are gaps in the GCC countries. The GCC countries, always we consider them as a model for the MENA region. The MENA region, the GCC already, they contributed a lot and a lot for economic development in the GCC region and in the world as well. So I am optimist. I will concentrate mainly on the main variables, which is composed of this topic. The research aims actually in this short presentation to highlight the importance of innovation in the new economy, and then to identify some of the challenges facing Arab countries to promote knowledge and gain from globalization. It does not mean that Arab countries are not capable to be innovative, but even they are capable to be innovative, but there are gaps, there are ranks. There are gaps, and we can just understand what's behind the advanced countries to be innovative, and what are the constraints maybe facing the GCC. Up to now, they have to be in the senior level of innovation. To shed some light on the role that knowledge plays in promoting economic diversification and increasing productivity, and then to determine the innovation gap within the GCC countries and the advanced countries, and then to promote ideas for bridging the knowledge and innovation gap everywhere in the world, not only in the GCC only. Capacity building for innovation. The first thing we can understand the capacity building for innovation. First, the new economy is knowledge-based economy, driven by knowledge and information. We have to move from the classical idea that capital is only the sole figure or the sole item that we can build our economies. But now the knowledge everywhere in the world, and maybe 99% of the scholars across the world, they agreed upon that the knowledge is the sole solution for development and improvement. Second, globalization has increased global access by providing opportunities for countries to compete in bigger markets. If we see, for instance, the GCC, they're competing with an Arab region or MENA region. To some extent, some companies, as Dr. Akbar Jafari said, that he can compete maybe in the international markets. The fourth, trade in goods and services have resulted in common standards which contributes, which countries are required to meet in order to compete in the global markets. Finally, the internationalization of science and technology allowed many countries to increase collaboration and share research projects together. And we are in bad need to find this, the final one, how to build capacity. In the GCC, we cannot rely only on the Bahrain capabilities or Saudi Arabia capabilities or United Arab Emirates capabilities. We have to collaborate across the region and across the globe so we can build our innovation capacity. As a consequence, innovation networks among firms. Look, firms, universities, not only SMEs, and isolation of universities and schools everywhere. By the way, the meaning of knowledge, it is not restricted to the PhDs or the universities only. It is a long journey, starting from the beginning of life and up to the senior level of acquiring knowledge. It is not restricted on the universities only. So as a consequence, innovation networks among firms, universities, and research centers, which helped in speeding up the process of technological learning, and ultimately increase in production and exports of knowledge-based products and services. A research problem, actually, it is not diagnosed by me and by Dr. Amr, but Dr. Amr, he focused actually heavily on all his research works and authored books, which is well known in the international universities, and he is expert in the economic development as well. He's the founder of a lot of theories and models and programs everywhere in the world. And his models were implemented here and there in the world, and even in the Malaysia as well, because he taught in Malaysia as well. So he focused his attention on the research problem that comes from the annual Global Innovation Index, GII, 2013 edition, which is published by Cornell University Business School in SAID and the United Nations World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, suggests that countries in the Middle East are falling behind developed economies when it comes to innovation. This is not actually a criticism, but with the level of innovation, it is not up to the senior level. The Arab countries deserves to be the leader of the world. The Arab countries, they have the capabilities, they have the aptitudes, and they have all the intention to be in the first class in the world. As our grandfathers and the history actually talk about, the victories of sciences in the world comes from the Arab worlds. We are very happy to be Arab, and we are very happy to be in the region, and we are very happy to talk about our achievements. Actually, the reflective generic measurement to innovation, I try to make a brief scanning worldwide. All the theories, all the foundations, all the models, we can scan them, put them as scanning through these figures. Innovation is measured by the share of total expenditure in the total GDP allocated for research and development. So the focus here on research development. The bottleneck on the neck. The research and development, the bottleneck of the most of education institutions. In 2009, the global expenditure on research and development accounted for $1.2 trillion. This is too much. The share of China in total global expenditure on research and development increased from 2.2% in 1993, and within 2014 is about 15%. You look, the shift. It's too much. This is China. When I was a child, when I heard about this is China, I never trust them, their products. But now, you know, everybody, everywhere in the world, the China compete in global markets and even in America and Japan. And they consider as a bigger problem for the international economies. So what's behind this development and this shift is the research and development. Even the schools, intermediate schools or non-schools or senior level schools and universities, whatsoever, the research is very important. Whereas the Arab world, as part of Middle East, spends the equivalent to 0.3% on research and development. Those figures is not mine. This is facts actually come from the what I mentioned about that source. What's the problem if we don't have as much as innovation and development in our countries? As stated by the United States, the United Nations, in many economies, technological progress is low. This is a fact. We cannot hide it, and it is internationally reported. Capital accumulation has reached a ceiling. I am not looking for their success, practices here and there, or SMEs, or some businesses. The businesses are not represent all the people, incomes or earning. To maintain employment level, labor productivity is kept low. In the absence of steady and continuous technological progress, countries retain substitution of capital for labor in order to stabilize employment. This is the source of this information. Scanning the previous concepts on the innovation paradigm. Lack of innovation and knowledge creation. That means low level of innovation and weak knowledge. There is a great correlation between knowledge and innovation. Innovation enhances the second one to be out of the above negative or consequences or bottleneck. Innovation enhances the country's capabilities to increase productivity. Not just to consume knowledge. To what extent such knowledge make us innovative, creative? By all means, by all kinds. Not only a theory, this is a fact, actually everywhere. As Professor Amr said, any intelligent, for instance, apparatus, any intelligent tools, mobiles, cars, to what extent we contributed in such production. We are not blaming ourselves, but we want to see the future of Arab countries, GCC countries on the senior level. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. So where are now from this الآية القرآنية? Innovation is defined as multi-dimensional issues. So we can define less, we can put endless list of definitions, not only one definition. A new material and components. Every time, every moment, we find there is a new component, a new materials, a new technologies. The introduction of new processes. Up to now, we are copy-paste the processes of others. By all means, by all levels. We don't have actually our own processes. Yes, we are copying others' processes, and we are doing, but we need to see our processes to be issued by ourselves, by our scholars, by our businesses, by our students, and so on. Then the opening of new markets. How we can open our new markets? The kebab of Syria may be global needs. They only, okay? So I will proceed very, very quickly. Building capacity for closing the innovation gap, it relies with the education system based on quality assurance international standards. And the Higher Education Council always emphasizing on this one. And all universities now, including Applied Science University, they constrain to be comply with the international standards and to strive to be the best among the best in the region and in the world. Encouraging small and medium enterprises building, and increase the prospect of greater collaboration and a lot of things. I can add the relation how we can close the gap through the education. Let me go quickly because there is only 20 minutes to present my paper. This matrix, 3 pillars, 3 by 3 pillars, we can, write or we can determine a strategic planning, how to be innovative, how to make the education, for instance, the education here, to contribute in the economic. What's the role of an education in the economic? To be very specific. Education for a skilled workforce, not only education for papers, or education for papers only. Education for skills, and all our programs now are designed on this base. Education should be for skilled workforce. Education to contribute to social, educational for total human development, not only for partial human development. And education for natural, education for sustainable development, not only for development, but sustained development. And if you go through a lot of, this matrix, you can depict a lot of models. However, the application of these theories, we prefer to use this the way we looked about the Global Innovation Index, GII 2013 edition. There are a lot of data and information and facts looked at 142 economies around the world using 84 indicators, including the quality of top universities, availability of microfinance, ventures, capital deals, gauging both innovation capabilities and measurable results. Here, we selected only those six countries. Switzerland comes in the first rank. Many people, they say that the United States may be the top, because the United States spend about 2/3 of the total investment on the research and development in the world. The United States, many people, they have an image, positive image about the United States of America. Now, Switzerland. Even Switzerland, it is the first rank in the globe. The second is Sweden. The third is the United States of America. And Finland, and then Denmark on the 9th. But still they have a gap. They are not saying that we are leading the globe. But they are leading the globe, they have a gap about 28.2% up to now. Let me go to the GCC. If we are considering that the advanced countries, Switzerland leading the globe, maybe we think that we don't have any innovation. No, we have innovation. In the GCC region, the United Arab Emirates comes the first on the region. The global rank is 38, but still they have a gap, 52%, and so on. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman. If I want to concentrate on this one, If we want to make an interpretation, all those countries around the world is like the fingerprints. There is no unique model suit for all countries. But if we look to them, that for instance, every country has its strengths and improvement platforms to be considered. The comments on the previous figure, for instance, the United Arab Emirates led the Middle East institutions, a human capital and research infrastructure, whereas Saudi Arabia ranked highest for market sophistication, Kuwait in knowledge and technology outputs, and Qatar and so on. And Bahrain is very close to the United Arab Emirates in the institutions. Those figures are actually ask your questions. Why? By the end, actually, I just try to make such a strategic analysis, considering the strengths and weaknesses. What is Switzerland? Where are their strengths? Where are the weaknesses? Those items, or those actually dimensions, are not 48 dimensions. No, it is just only the high scored